Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fola. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew a cowl kaftan dress with yoke and front slits. If this is something you'd like to know more about, kindly stay tuned till the end of this video. So I'll be drafting out on paper first, so you'll be able to see what I'm drafting clearly. Sorry, I didn't know my camera was not viewing that part, but I'm going to explain to you what I did there. What I have on fold there is half of the shoulder measurement plus sleeve length. Half of our shoulder measurement here is 7 inches plus sleeve length of 16 inches. That's 23 inches. So what I have on fold there is 23 inches plus 1 inch for hemming the sleeve. That is 24 inches. So that is what I have on fold. I have 24 inches on fold. I'm going to cut out the back first. So all I did was to place my neck width from the folded edge. My neck width is 3.5 inches and my back neck depth is 3 inches as well. Then I came down by 1 inch from my shoulder. Then I'll connect that to the neck width to form my shoulder slant. The next thing I did was to mark 30 inches from my shoulder line. I placed my tape measure on the shoulder line and I marked 30 inches downward. This dress is for a short person. That is why I marked 30 inches. If you are making this dress for an average person, you can mark about 33 to 36 inches downward. So I connected that with a straight ruler. So on that line, I placed my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 4 inches is allowance. You can make use of 4 or 5 inches for his allowance depending on what you want, but it shouldn't be less than 3 inches, so it won't be difficult for you to walk. So from the shoulder slant there, I placed half of the round sleeve measurement plus 1 inch allowance. Our round sleeve measurement there is 10 inches, so half of that is 5 inches plus 1 inch for sewing allowance. That is 6 inches. So what I placed there is 6 inches. So the next thing I did now was to place our full length. The full length of the dress I'm working with is 54 inches. So from the shoulder line, I placed my tape measure there and I marked 54 inches plus 1 inch hemming allowance. Then the next thing I did was to place what I have on the knee line, on the hem line, which is my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 4 inches for ease. Then I connected that with a straight ruler. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to make my cowl effect. So from my sleeve opening there, I'm going to make a curve like that till I get to the knee line. I'll just use my free hand to make a curve like that to my knee line. So I'm not satisfied with the shape of my curve, so I'll be making another curve like that. So I'll be following the second curve now. So I'll be cutting it out now. I'll be cutting out my back neckline first. And I'll cut out my shoulder line as well. So I'll follow my cowl line. So that is all for my back pattern. So I'll be working on the front pattern now. So the first thing I'll do there is to mark my neck depth. My front neck depth is 7 inches. I made use of 7 inches, so I'll mark 7 inches there. Then I'll connect that to the neck width like that. So for the front yoke as well, I want the length of the yoke to be 7 inches as well. So all I did was to mark 7 inches from the shoulder line. Then I connect that with a straight ruler, like you see me doing here. So I just connected that with my straight ruler to the sleeve length like that. So that would be my front yoke. So I'll be adding the necessary allowance to that on fabric. So I'm going to cut out now. Then I will cut the front neckline as well. So that is all for my front pattern. So to cut out my yoke on fabric now, I'll make sure my neckline is directly on the selvage. You can see the V shape of my neckline is directly on the selvage like that. So I'm going to pin that down. You can see, I hope you can see clearly what I'm doing there. I made sure the V neckline is directly on the selvage, so I'm just following the selvage like that. So all I'll do now is to cut out. I'm going to add 1/2 inch for joining. I'll add 1/2 inch to the down part like that. I'll add 1/2 inch to join to the main bodies, and I'll add 1/2 inch to the shoulder line as well, like that. So that is all for my front yoke. Then for the main bodies now, so I want the selvage to be at the midpoint at the center of my front pattern. So all I'm going to do now is to pin down my paper directly on the selvage like that. I left 1/4 inch at the center before placing my paper there. So the 1/4 inch is to join the two fronts together. Then I placed my shoulder to dress length like that, and I placed what I have on the knee line. I placed it on the dress length as well, and I connected that with a straight ruler. And that will be all for the front pattern. Then I'm going to cut out now. Mind you, I left 1/2 inch at the top there. The 1/2 inch is to join to the yoke. I'm going to be using the 1/2 inch to join to my front yoke. Then I cut out my front pattern as well. So that will be all for the cutting process. So I'll start joining my pieces now. So this is the front. You can see the selvage at the midpoint there. And this is my front yoke as well. This is how it's going to look like when I join it. So all I'm going to do now is to place right side of the yoke to the right side of the fabric. Then I'll stitch that with my 1/2 inch allowance. So this is it after I was done joining it. You can see. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to join the front at the midpoint there. So I'll place them right side facing each other like this. So I'll make sure it's aligning. I'll make sure everything is aligning there. So I'll just arrange that well, and I'm going to pin it down. So my sewing is going to start from the yoke there. So I'm going to pin that down. Then I'll sew it till I get to the down part. But I want my front to have a slit at the middle, so I won't be sewing to the hem of the dress. So I came up by 15 inches from the hem. So my sewing will be stopping at that point. I'm going to sew with 1/4 inch till I get to that point. So this is it after I was done sewing. So I'm going to give it a good press so it can lay flat. So for the back pattern now, I'm going to use a bias to tape the neckline. I'm going to tape my neckline with a bias. After which I'm going to join my shoulders. So this is it I've gone ahead to join the shoulders, and I've taped the neckline as well, my back neckline. Remember, the sleeve opening we are working with is 6 inches, so we are going to mark 6 inches from the shoulder line there. Then I'm going to notch that point, so I'll go ahead to hem my sleeve. So this is it. I've gone ahead to hem my sleeve. I've hemmed that part round, so I'm going to mark it again, which is 6 inches. So I will be starting my sewing from that point, from the 6 inches point. So I'll sew till I get to the hem of my dress. From the sleeve opening, I'll sew till I get to the hem of my dress, just like this. After which I'm going to hem the down part of my dress. So this is the final outcome of our cowl kaftan dress. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to subscribe, share and like my videos, and also put on your notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. Thank you.